It's ridiculous that you buy power from the grid at 40 cents and when you sell back, you only get 5 cents right now. We only have 3 brands producing the PV cells. They are in China. Most of these solar panels, they absolutely very much the same. The value that the customer is going to get, it doesn't change much. He asks me, Tommy, the bills are still too high. Look at the bills, is still $900. We said to him, it's important to... I'm Tommy.
And I'm Yury, and this is Solar Samurai.
After helping families across the east suburbs of Sydney taking control of their energy bills, we saw the truth. Solar isn't just about panels. It's about peace of mind, protecting your home, slashing your bills, and giving you freedom from rising energy prices.
We're here to cut through the noise, expose the problems in the industry, and help you to make smart, clean energy decisions.
Ready to become a solar samurai? Let's go! Today we are covering brutal truth about solar. Yury, you are a homeowner. Have you ever got someone knocking your door or giving you a call, giving you advice on solar?
Indeed. Many years ago, I've made a mistake of leaving my details online on some dodgy solar quote sites. And then right now I keep getting calls, people try to chase and install solar. So this has been my experience so far, not quite enjoying it.
Did you get much out of those calls or out of those?
No, not really. Most of the time there'll be marketers from overseas just trying to rip the commission and be gone. And also what really bothers me is that they never listen when they just come up with a quote. Maybe I have certain preferences that I want to achieve with my solar system. And if they don't listen, they cannot give me what I want.
The homeowners, oftentimes, they are going to be asking themselves, what's the best panel? What's the best inverter? Yury, not much of that really matters when you have, someone that doesn't know what they're installing, that doesn't know how to install, they don't know how to run the equipment, right? A lot more important than the panel you are putting in your roof or the inverter brand you are installing is how this is going to connect and how this is going to give you the final outcome, which ultimately is saving the bills, isn't it? What are you interested when you're looking for solar? What do you want?
Yeah, look, as a consumer of solar technology and someone who wants to install it on my roof, all I really care about is the brand really reliable? Can I get a support if something goes down? And as well as how reputable my installer is, because if later down the track I have any issues with the installation, I want some reliability coming from a company, I want to make sure that on a rainy day, I am covered and I'm not going to get in trouble.
You touched something very important here, right? So ultimately, you said you want the savings. If you get a company with reputation, they are going to cover all the other bits for you.
Yes, that would give me a peace of mind. And it's interesting that you've mixed in the savings part of it in the decision making that I have as a customer, because the less friction I have and the more service I get, that turns out to be more savings for me in the long run. Mm-hmm. Now, can I ask you a quick question? Also, very important consideration that customers have when they consider solar is the savings part in terms of how much can I save on the electricity. What should I expect as a customer?
Beautiful question. Solar, it's been, in the last 10 years, what we have in here, we have drastically dropping the money that you get paid when you export to the grid, right? So what the money you should expect, it really relies on actually now on a battery, because it's ridiculous that you buy power from the grid at 40 cents and when you sell back, you only get 5 cents right now. And then so I will give you a real example, right? A client we serviced last year, after a couple bills, it was a massive system, right? We installed for him over 50 panels, right? And what happened was, he came back to me after a few months down the track and he asked me, Tommy, the bills are still too high. Look at the bills, it's still $900, right? During the advice, we said to him, hey, it's important to get a battery connected, right? So when you we sell back to the grid, we actually get some money, but he didn't took the advice in full, and he was more focused in the upfront investment. So what happened was he contacted me and I said, "Hey, do you remember that conversation we had 6 months ago?" Yeah, I remember. Oh, but I wasn't too sure. I wasn't very confident, but now I can see. And then the end result was we came back to his place, and now we're installing a battery for him. So that whole system is now going to pretty much zero his bills, right? So that's a very important piece of the industry.
When it comes to panels that I can install on my roof, there's so many brands. I, as a customer, really get confused in what should I put on my roof. How should I choose which one to go with?
We have thousands of panels, and we could be covering brands and brands and brands. The reality is the differences are very, very small. We only have 3 brands producing the PV cells. They are in China, right? So what we have is 3 PV cell manufacturers producing the cells and thousands of people putting cells together. Right? So what happened is most of the solar panels, they absolutely very, very much the same. What changes the cost of these other panels considered premium is where the panels are put together, right? So if the panels are put together in Mexico or in Singapore, right, the cost of putting the panels together is going to be a lot more than the panels that are put together in China.
Yeah, I see.
Right? So, but in reality, the value that the customer is going to get, it doesn't change much, right? So my advice to you, don't worry too much about the panels, right? You need to worry about who is installing that panel for you.
Fantastic. And what should I look out for in terms of installer? What are the qualities of a good installer?
One very important topic is communication, right? How someone is going to communicate to you about what they do, right? Second, how can you accept something coming from over the phone? How much you cost your home, Yury?
Yeah, of course. My home is quite expensive. It's currently sitting close to 2 mil.
2 mil. Well, that's cheap for Sydney. So yeah, you know, how are you going to trust someone to come over the phone and give you a $2,000 deal to put in your house that costs $2 million,
Yes.
right? They are going to make holes in your roof. They are going to make alterations in your electrical board. How can you trust, you know, that thing is going to save you $10,000?
Yeah, that's very hard to believe, isn't it?
Just quickly, if you are still overpaying for power, Maroubra helps homeowners taking control with premium solar systems installed by local experts, no shortcuts, no stress.
Book your free, no obligation solar consult today using the link in the show notes. Save money, power your future, own your energy.
Now back to the episode.
And look, in terms of choosing the best panels that I have, I also have a consideration that my roof is a bit shady, like a lot of shade on the roof, and I'm afraid the solar panels will not work as I would expect them to work. Can I do something about it?
Obviously, we're talking here about solar panels. It's not called shade panels for a reason, right? So very, very important, right? You need to get someone to go and check. Right? There is not just panels that are shaded and panels that are not shaded, right? We have a whole range. We have panels that are shaded by a building, that's one thing. We have panels that are shaded by a tree. Sometimes we have a tree that loses the leaves, right? So it's a seasonal tree, right? There is a distance. The tree might be 10 meters away. The tree might be 50 meters away, right? So first step is to size it up, how much is the shade, right? So when we go on site, and again, that's the importance of having someone to come and inspect your roof, right? So when someone come, they should be looking into the pitches. Sometimes even the roof itself, a chimney might create shades in the panel. Right? So we need to first measure how big is the shade. Once we know the level of the shade, and then we can tailor what's the solution for deal with the shade.
Thank you for explaining that. And look, as a house owner, I'm very concerned of the electrical currents running on top of my roof. How fire safe is that?
The safety of the cable is depending on how long who is installing for you is going to take to do it, right? So, for instance, in the terminations of cabling, you can use equipment that costs $10 from Temu, or you can use the right equipment that costs $400, right? So the point is, who is doing that installation? It is a very, very, risk thing. We are setting up energy using in your roof, right? So you should choosing the right installers to do the work and with the right supervision, right? So you can do it very, very, very sloppy, choose someone very cheap, and definitely you are going to risk your house, or you can choose someone with reputation in the industry that's going to do the right thing, is going to take the time to run the cables properly, and then you're safe. At the end of the day is the safety of your home. So point here, choose the right installers and the right business behind to cover yourself.
Thank you. And when it comes to solar system, should I go just solar or solar plus the battery? What would be the main differences that I should consider?
Yury, here, the point for you and for the other homeowners is the solar panels itself, it produces the energy, right? So you rely less on the energy coming on the grid. And the batteries is like a manager. So the battery is going to make the energy that you just produced available in the right timing, right? So the true here is the two, they should be combined together. That's the ideal in the holistic approach, right? Solar panels produce the energy, the batteries make it available in the right timing.
Tommy, how expensive is solar?
Yury, solar pays for itself. We put the panels up in your roof. We can even take a finance plan, right? You don't need to touch your pocket, right? So the savings we generate in one hand is enough to pay for your finance plan, right? So pretty much it's just paid by itself, and plus it builds, $10,000, $20,000 into your home value.
Great. And are solar batteries expensive?
Well, that's the common sense. Everyone says, oh, the battery, the technology is not there. The batteries are too expensive. With the new battery program launched just in July, right? The battery is going to be 50% cheaper than it was last year. So what's a good payback for you? What's a good return on investment?
I would love it to be paid off in 6 years.
6 years. What if I tell you the batteries can pay back in 2 or 3 years?
I would say that sounds like a great investment.
And they last at least 10 years under warranty, but they can cover you for 30 years. And in 2 years it's paid back. So I guess it just makes sense.
Tommy, I've decided to purchase a solar system and install it on my roof. I've signed a contract, all ready to go, family's happy. How long should I expect until the system is fully installed on my roof?
Solar industry has become very, very specialized recently, right? It can take just 1 or 2 days.
Oh, is that
right? So it's not like we're not tailoring. It's everything is designed, the mounting and the structures, and so the installers, our crews, they already know exactly what needs to be done. So based on our site visit, we know what's the needs of your home, and then pretty much we can size the crew accordingly so we can install in maximum 2 days.
Fantastic. And when can I see the benefits of solar after being installed?
Important question here, right? So straight away we install the system, in the end of the day, you already have solar energy coming, right? If you're in summer, we probably are going to finish 4 p.m. You already start getting energy from 4 until 6 p.m. you already have some reasonable amount of power coming. So trick here is, it depends on what's the meter that you have in your box, right? If you don't have a smart meter, we need to get that upgraded to a smart meter so it can read what's the power going back to the grid, right? So the meter upgrade, roughly, it might take between 3 to 4 weeks, and then we rely on the grid guys to come and do the upgrade for you. We liaise the whole thing for you, but that's important to keep in mind. So the short answer for that, let's say a month.
A month. Great. Fantastic.
That was a dense, condensated chunk of Q&A. If you Or if you have any further questions about solar and batteries, please don't hesitate to drop a comment in here. We'd love to help you further. Thanks for tuning to Solar Samurai.
If you got value from this episode, the best way to support the show is by leaving a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify.
And don't forget to subscribe on YouTube so you never miss out on an episode. You can also connect with us on Instagram at solarrun_Maroubra.
See you in the next episode.